There we go. Come on. Salud.
Salud.
To all of you.
To all of you.
I know that just bugged somebody that I slurped that, but maybe in the bloopers you'll see why I slurped that. Anyway, so...
What's up, witches?
What's up?
I'm Linda Hurd.
And I'm John Kane.
And this is Getting Witchy.
Wicca 101, this would be part...
I don't know.
Fuck.
Does it even matter what part it is?
Well...
We're talking about...
It's part 3 or 4, I don't know. It's divination.
We're going to start a series on divination, and tonight we're talking about pendulums.
Pendulums.
Which is one of the easiest...
Oh, it really is.
...of divination.
But okay. So, it's one of the easiest, but can also be one of the vaguest. If
yes.
your question or request is not specific enough.
Right.
I want a new job. That doesn't really...
Well, no, because it has to be a yes or no question.
Well, yeah, there's that too. I mean, but people say, that would be their goal. I want to find a new job. That's not even specific enough.
No.
I mean, because you could... see, the thing is, with the universe, like you could say, I want to find a new job, but not put in other details about what you really are looking for, as well as not putting in details of how you would leave the current job.
Right.
Okay, so you could end up being forced out of the current job, and that forces you to find something else that wasn't as good as what you had.
Right.
But it's a new job.
Right.
So you
yes.
got to be very specific. So anyway, we're talking about pendulums.
Yes.
Now I see you have your pendulum out. Did
yes.
you want to start?
Well, I just wanted to show. So this one I specifically bought from a friend of mine from high school.
Cool.
Who at one point had a witchy shop. I don't think it's in existence anymore. But
what was the name, just in case?
The Fur and Fang, out of Rancho Cucamonga, California. But it's a beautiful piece.
That sounds like that would be a good title.
This part right here is full of amethyst chips. And of course you have the different chakra crystals going up the stem
chain.
there, the chain. But yes, this is what I use when I do pendulum readings, which don't happen very often because, for some reason I feel like I know everything. But what do you use for your pendulum readings?
Or is it because, we'll get to that in a second, or is it because you have built a relationship? Okay, so let's start with one of the things, the key factors of pendulum readings. You are talking to and requesting information or assistance from whoever it is you seek out on a daily. Like if you just reach out, if it's guardians, spirit guides, guardian angels, spirit guides.
Your higher power.
Higher power, whether that be Jesus Christ, Allah,
the Greek gods.
Or the Greek gods.
Your ancestors.
Yeah, even your ancestors. I mean, I do know people personally that will occasionally or have, and I haven't spoken to them in a while, but anyway, reach out to ancestors and ask for their assistance. I think you even told me about a situation involving cemetery dirt.
Yes.
But that's a whole
other story.
Anyway, so you're asking, or I'm asking assistance from my spirit guides. What?
Your phone just made a funny noise.
Okay.
But anyway,
I didn't hear
going.
it. My spirit guides are a culmination of different species. I've got one. When I asked him his name, he told me to call him Kyle. He said my name you wouldn't be able to pronounce. He had blue skin. No, seriously.
I remember that.
You wouldn't be able to pronounce it. So what? Because it was like he showed me the name, and I swear to God, it was like this long. The first name was like this long with our various letters
Like
and some
hieroglyphics,
and then some figures that I didn't recognize
Right.
in it. So anyway, my spirit guides have a frickin' sense of humor.
Yes, they do.
So I'm getting back to what we started to talk about who you were talking to, and it's not all. Yes, it's yes or no questions. That's the best because then you can actually get an answer. But everything that a key factor it took me a while to realize is that whatever answer that they give you is dependent upon everything continuing as it is on the course that each thing is going until it comes to fruition. The problem is that shit happens. Especially when I found that when I know the outcome of something, tell me I can't fuck up a loaf of bread in the oven, and I will fuck up a loaf of bread in the oven. Like, it's a no-brainer, but I could screw it up. Like, it's human. Like,
Right.
If you know something is going to go a certain... I've done it several times. I did a pendulum reading at a friend's house, and it was like 10 or 15 years ago, and her kids were there, and they were doing... I was just holding the pendulum. They were asking the questions. I should have known better than to do that. They asked the question about her and I being more than friends, and it gave a positive or an affirmative of that it would happen. And
Never did.
nope. Like I could see, like, there was a look of, I don't know how to describe it, but you could see that it was like shut at that moment because she walked up as they were asking the question, and I couldn't stop it. But yeah, so
And which friend was this?
nobody get somebody in Narcotics Anonymous. I honestly don't even remember her first name at this point.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, hence the anonymous. I don't know the last name.
Right. Okay.
Anyway,
Not where I thought that was going, but okay.
oh well, is there another circumstance that I'm not thinking of at the moment? Because that was the first one that popped ahead because it's the most blatant.
Well, not the friend I thought you were talking about.
Oh. Anyway, I don't even know who you're talking about. Anyway, so that's her pendulum. Mine, now, for me, and in the teachings that because I was, my self-teaching was literally self-taught. It was books, a few people I talked to. There was one dude that, Josh Luthley, I remember his last name even though, anyway, dude turned me on. He got me my first Big Blue Book.
Okay.
Bucky's Big Blue Book. Or through him, I met somebody that gave me one. It was that kind of... he took me to the park and did a calling of the Four Corners
Okay.
ceremony right there in the park. I think Encanto Park, actually. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Cool dude. What was I saying?
You were talking about your pendulum.
Yes. So the various teachings and a few interpersonal relationships with people that I learned some things from. What I got from what everybody said was that a pendulum needs to be connected to you. in some way. Like yours is connected to you because it was a gift from a high school friend.
It's not really a gift if I purchased it.
Oh,
but
you purchased it.
I purchased this
That's
to
right.
support
I'm sorry.
her store.
Yeah, okay, but it was something that a high school friend made.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
My apologies. You did say that, and hey, anyway. I prefer to use one that I wear all the time because it's my energy. The teachings that I got were that the more of your energy is in the pendulum, the better connection you'll have, and the clearer the answers will be. So I always use my necklace. I've had this necklace on. It actually has the Celtic knot with one of the anonymous program symbols in the center of it, because I bought it that long ago. Like 20 years, I think, at this point. Maybe 15. But I use this because it's weighted enough, and it'll do what needs to be done. So I've seen, and I know you've seen, I'm sure you guys have seen, the things on Facebook or Amazon, especially Amazon, but those little cloth things with like the yes or no and
The pendulum charts.
The charts, and then there was like a maybe, and then
I don't know.
Right, I don't know. Like, I mean, if you like using those, go for it. I don't personally see their need and the need to spend money on something that you can. I mean, if you like it, you can just make it yourself. And that's better, because even if it's just a piece of paper that you used a pencil on and didn't even get fancy schmancy with it, that's something you did and your energy was put into it. So the answers you're seeking are going to be better suited coming from it rather than something printed by somebody in mass production with a silk screen.
So let me ask you something, because this actually came up in one of my Facebook groups. Somebody mentioned that they had done a pendulum reading, but the answers it gave were incorrect. So, like, if they asked a question, a yes or no question, and it said yes, the answer, what actually ended up happening was no. And there was some debate in the group about whether or not you should ask the pendulum to show you what it says yes and no are, or do you tell it what yes and no are? Because there were some people who said, I don't ask it what yes or no is, I tell it. This is yes, this is no. What do you think about that?
So there's a couple things wrong with that. So first of all, to answer that, and I've already lost, because there was something else you mentioned at the very beginning that they did. But anyway, so again, going back to what I was saying, is you're talking to your spirit guides, your guardian angels, if you will. Zeus, Diana, Aphrodite.
Or your ancestors.
Or your ancestors. Do you really think you have the fucking balls to tell them what's what? Or are you going to ask them which direction is yes and which direction is no? If you're going to go to your ancestors and tell them what they're going to do, they're likely, if they've got any power themselves, they're going to tell you to go F yourself. Just not in so many words. They will give you the wrong answers. Oh, but again, that also goes back to the other thing. So they told you yes to something and it was actually no. Well, what did you do differently after you found out that that was definitely going to be yes? You did something differently. You either were like, oh, okay, so it's definitely going to happen, so I can relax, I can chill. Yeah. It's good. I'm good. It's going to happen no matter what.
So,
determined. and dedicated and punctual, and it's like I'm just going to get it. So you change something.
Right.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Right.
So that would be my first thought, is that they change something. We as human beings can be procrastinative.
We can procrastinate.
But we can also be lazy. And
Yes.
if we know, if we believe something is going to happen because we were told it was going to happen, and
we kind of hit the brakes and
50% of the people will be
I
like,
don't have to put in the
okay,
effort.
yeah, I don't have to put in the. So that changes what's going on. So no, now it's not going to be the original answer because
Right.
you changed something in the timeline. I hate to use that word. This
changed-
isn't Marvel,
right.
but you
changed
have
something.
changed something in the timeline.
Right. See, where I'm coming from is that, especially like with mine, because it has all these crystals in it, these crystals have energy of their own. They
Yes.
have a sentience of their own.
Yes, they do.
Anything that is of nature has a sentience of its own.
So they would need to be charged
They would need
to
to
be
be
focused on you.
yes, but at the same time, they're going to have their own intelligence, their own thought patterns. And if you sit there and say, hey, is this going to happen? And they say yes, it's because they're going off of what they see, not off of what you're doing. But at the same time, if you're telling them, hey, I want you to do this for yes and this for no, they could sit there and say, F you, I want to do this for yes and this for
Right.
you.
So what I typically do, now I'm not going to do this right now, but typically, if I am doing a pendulum reading, it's because I want to find out something. We already mentioned earlier, you don't just say, I want a new job.
Right.
You would, using that as an example,
Would it be a good idea for me to look for a new job?
Right.
Is now a good time to look for a new job?
Right.
And then from there, based off the answers you get more and more specific. If there's a specific industry you want to go into, would this be a good move to make to get into that industry? Or, like, for instance, I'm going to herbalism school because at the end of January, I finish school and I'm going to start my own clinical herbalist practice. So, hey, would now be a good time for me to start getting my name out there and,
Right.
Start volunteering at certain events so that I can build up a client base. If you're wanting to make a change from retail to, I don't know.
Or you could ask for something as simple as, is now a good time for me to ask for a raise?
Right. That's always, but it has to be a yes or no answer.
Yeah, people make the questions, and even I have. I make the explanation of how and why more complicated. So yes, I can definitely complicate questions. So anyway, to get to the yes or no. So I hope you guys can see it well enough with my black. So normally I would meditate on whatever it is that I am wanting to know. Would calm the mind, focus on what I want to know. Reaching out to my spirit guides, your guardian angels, your ancestors, whoever it is that you want to reach out to. Now, I hold my pendulum between my thumb and forefinger. I don't let the chain actually loop around my finger. I just hold it at the clasp. And then I ask them, which direction is yes? Okay, so I don't know if I know you guys can see it, but it's basically a
Back and forth.
back and forth. Which direction is no? Okay, thank you. You can stop. Now again, which direction is yes? Okay, you can stop. Thank you. And again, which direction is no? Okay. Can you make it a little bit harder, stronger? Thank you. Just want to be clear. You can stop. Thank you for answering these questions. Now, I'm curious, is this a good time for me to start looking for another job? Could you make that a little bit stronger? I'm not sure. Okay. Okay. Now, one thing I forgot to ask you, what direction would be maybe? Now, I don't think you guys can see this on the camera, but it's basically going in a circle.
Mine is too.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to do this demonstration. So, of course, you can. What I really recommend, and I have a ritual journal that I keep. It's been a little bit. I should probably put this one in there, even though it's on video. This technically was a little mini ritual. Prepare in advance. I found that I draw frickin' blank when I'm like right in the middle of things. It's like, you can rehearse a frickin' conversation for 5 God blessed hours.
Right.
And then when you get in front of the person, you're like,
you draw blank.
Yeah.
Or here's the thing, they don't go off the same script that you came up with in your head.
Right. So it totally throws everything. So my point is get a little piece. Even if you don't have a journal, that's fine. All right.
Just write it down.
Even
on
if you
a piece
don't want
of
to
paper.
keep it, which I really suggest you do, because it's pretty interesting going back and looking at, a reading or a spell or something you did from a year and a half ago, and kind of forgot about. And then when you look back and whatever it was about, like, the shit happened.
Right.
Like, it friggin' happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, I recommend you have a journal, but write down the questions that you want to ask. And that's okay. Like, you don't have, and then you can even write down the answers that you were given. Yes, no, I've got in mind, I've got all the answers written down. Right. I mean, what's the point in having the questions there if you don't have the answers to look back at, So, anyway.
Yeah, it is definitely a good idea to write everything down, because you will forget some things. Like, when I was in my early 20s, apparently I cast a truth spell for somebody, completely forgot about it until they mentioned it to me like 15 years later. And And I'm like, really? Because I didn't have it written down. Well, but here's the thing. I think at one point in time I did, but I was going through some shit and ended up destroying my Book of Shadows and my journal and just kind of reset everything. And so, yeah, I didn't remember that I did that spell for them until they mentioned it. And then once they mentioned it, like, then the memories kind of started. Oh, yeah, like, I vaguely remember doing this, and it was because of this.
Right.
And so I did this, but, yeah, okay, it's where, so what happened? And then it turned out that, like, I guess it was because he thought his girlfriend was cheating on him, his fiance was cheating on him, and it turned out she was, so they broke up, and then he ended up marrying somebody else, and then it just became this whole mess that...
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, definitely make sure you're writing stuff down, because you won't remember.
Also, in addition to one thing that I would try to do is do even if it's just a couple of minutes. Doesn't mean I'm not talking about a 30-minute fucking meditation on what you just did, because that will have been draining enough. If you're truly able to do this, which most people can, everybody has the energy and ability within them. If you're able to do this, you will feel an energy drain. But one of the things, just like with your attendance there, whoever you've asked to join you, or whoever it is that you speak to, whether it be a deity or your spirit guides or guardian angels by name, or whatever, thank them for being present. Thank them for participating.
Yes.
And providing you with guidance. Choose to not to at your own peril. They're taking their time to come and help you. Be gracious and say thank you.
And maybe even give them an offering.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that either. Especially if you're dealing with a freaking deity.
Oh, yeah.
They love their offerings. And then keep in mind that the responses you receive are based on current energy and energy flow, and where energy is being put into. So just like we talked about earlier, if you stop putting it, you're trying to get a job promotion and you stop putting energy into that promotion because you were told in a pendulum reading that you're going to get the job promotion, you're probably not going to get the job promotion.
Yes. It's going to go based off of if everything continues as it is.
So, we love you. Use this information just like all other information that we give you. You're dealing with the elementals, the spirit realm. You're dealing with powers beyond the human capability and what's the word? Understanding, really. And utilizing these energies has a cost. So just be smart about it. That's all.
Until next time, witches, peace out.